Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as somebody on Patreon recently pointed out to me, it has been a minute since I've done one of my crazy creature videos. You know, like Toadzilla, giant deep sea spiders, that shark that can extend its jaw out of its mouth. Yeah, we've had a few juicy ones. Nature really is insane. But I looked back at my videos and they were right. My real life Moby Dick video was the last video I did about any animal, and the last crazy creature video I did was about the orange shark, which was last year. So for today's video, I thought, let's fix this. I've got a small list of insane creatures that shouldn't be real, but yet somehow are. You guys think I'm kidding. So let's shine a light on one of them today. Also, real quick, my Patreon people already know this, but I'm going on vacation, so I will be off my schedule next week for probably like a week or two. But I will be making more content while I'm abroad to post at a later time, and I'll also be making shorts while I'm there, so keep an eye out for that. And I'll be revealing where exactly I'll be going at the end of this video, so if you're interested, stick around for that. But in the meantime, it's worm time. Because this particular worm and his terrifying jaws is some nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel that I'm apparently bringing to you guys before I go on vacation. What is even happening? Let's get into it. So deep beneath the Southern Ocean, aka the Antarctic Ocean, lies a realm of perpetual darkness, crushing pressure, and sub-zero temperatures. Now, in the past, many of our crazy creatures have been found in this particular region, and today's creature is no different. For within this ocean, foraging along the seafloor, lies the Antarctic Scale Worm, aka Eulogisca gigantea. And this, my friend, is no garden earthworm. To me, this creature is like a crazy worm hybrid of a medieval knight and something Ridley Scott might have come up with once upon a time. Now, the Antarctic scale worm is pretty big for a worm, but it's not like freakishly big. It measures about 8 inches long, and I went looking for something that's about 8 inches long to give you guys a sense of scale, and I found this random Hunchback of Notre Dame book in my library that is 8.1 inches long. So this is our worm. I actually did look up what the biggest worm on Earth is, and it's the African giant earthworm, which typically grows to an average length of 4.5 to 6 feet long, or 1.4 to about 1.8 meters. Which is, yeah, I mean, that is a person-sized worm. It's a lot of worm. But the Antarctic scale worm is still pretty big in the worm department, and it's the result of polar gigantism, which I think I've covered before in my Greenland shark video. Polar gigantism is the evolutionary phenomenon where certain marine animals in the freezing waters of the Arctic and Antarctic grow to unusually large sizes compared to their relatives in warmer climates. And there's still some debate as to the why of this, but generally it's argued that greater oxygen content in colder waters supports larger organisms. Now let's get into the anatomy and physiology of the Antarctic scale worm, because this is where the nightmare stuff lies. The worms are named after the scales, known as elytra, that cover their bodies. And these scales, upside down, look a bit like human teeth, which I think is part of what freaks people out about them. But these elytra form shingle-like armor plating along the top of the worm. And these scales act like physical armor, protecting the soft underbelly from rocks and predators, and helps the worm breathe by slightly lifting and lowering its scales, which pumps oxygen-rich water over the worm's top surface, effectively aiding its respiration in low-oxygen, high-pressure environments. And of course, it masks the worm's silhouette from predators because that armor plating blends into the seafloor pretty well. Now, the body of this worm is covered in about 15 to 40 of these scale segments. And sticking out from these segments are a dense layer of golden iridescent bristles known as chaetae. These chaetae extend outwards, which the worm uses like tiny paddles for locomotion. And that part of the worm, in my opinion, is actually quite beautiful. I feel like we don't see brilliant gold bits on animals all that often, so it's particularly striking, especially underwater. But then we have the nightmare part, guys. The mouth. Because yes, this worm has a mouth, and it is way more intense than what you would think of when you think of a worm mouth. Is anyone ever thinking of a worm mouth? At first, when you look at it, you might just think it's the head of the worm, but nope, it's not a head at all. It is the retractable mouth that they keep tucked away until they're ready to feast. The worms unfurl this proboscis to reveal a set of jaws almost 3 inches or 7 centimeters wide, complete with large, sharp teeth, according to Australian Geographic. These jaws are sharp and powerful and capable of tearing through flesh or exoskeletons with ease. So basically, most of the time, it's this pretty little golden bristly thingy, but then it's got this mouth that can jut out, grab whatever it wants to grab, and pull it back in for lunch or dinner or 11sies, whatever. Apparently its preferred menu items are sea spiders, small marine invertebrates, and organic matter that rests on the ocean floor. But it's also thought that the Antarctic scale worm can use its mouth to defend itself as well. But because it lives in the dark, extreme depths of the Southern Ocean, exact details like this are hard for scientists to study. A lot of the footage that we do have of them are from ROVs that just happen to stumble across these worms while studying the area. Now, the Antarctic scale worm does have eyes, but vision is of little use that far down into the Antarctic shelf. So the scale worm mostly relies on tactile and chemical sensing. Its head is ringed with these whisker-like appendages and antennae that detect minute vibrations and chemical trails in the water. This allows the worm to locate prey and sense approaching threats long before making physical contact. And they live quite far down there. They've been found at depths that range from 130 to 2,300 feet, or 40 to 700 meters. And we are talking sub-zero temperatures. I think 2 degrees Celsius is like the warmest water they've been found in. The Antarctic scale worm was discovered and first described by Scottish zoologist Charles Carmichael Arthur Munro in 1939. And despite its terrifying little mouth, like other bristleworms, it probably plays an important role in keeping the ocean healthy. According to MBARI, bristleworms are fabulous recyclers and builders, creating massive reef structures and tangles of tubes that house a myriad of other animals, including crabs, snails, and of course, other worms. So it's all very circle of life once again. So the Antarctic scale worm. Shimmering gold armor, check. Terrifying retractable jaw, check. Big ol' body due to polar gigantism, check. Yeah, the deep ocean. Not disappointing us once again. So let me know in the comments below if you'd ever heard of the Antarctic scale worm, or if I get the thrill of introducing you to yet another I can't believe that's real creature. Because I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of thrilling for me. So if you've made it to the end of this video, it is vacation reveal time. I'm going to Paris. Paris, France. Yeah, I know it's not like super exotic, but I'm so excited. It's been a long time since I've been there. I've got some family that's from there. And so I'm just really thrilled to go again and see some of my favorite old places and see some new places as well. And I get to see Notre Dame after the rebuild. Speaking of Notre Dame, oh, that was weird. That was like a subconscious hint I gave you guys, maybe. As I said, I'll be posting some shorts during my trip, but I'll also probably be doing a couple of vlogs from Paris, which just sounds amazing coming out of my mouth, over on my Patreon. So if that's your cup of tea, my Patreon link is in the description. Okay, that's it for now. I will see you guys when I get back. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.